Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors. Get all your hound hunting needs at conkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest fights to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
I've been involved in the hounds for probably, I'd say my entire life. My grandfather, my father, they all were hound hunters. Grew up hunting English dogs. Did a lot of competition hunting in my younger years. Campaigned some really nice English dogs back when I was a teenager in high school, actually. Qualified a dog for the world. He was a pretty good one. Hunted him until he was 13 years old before I finally lost him. He was off a lot of Oni breeding back in that time. That's what my father hunted. So,
How long ago was that?
It's been 35 plus years ish.
Okay.
So it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pup off the Turkey Ridge racket dog that Oni's had. A lot of fun to hunt. He was track driving, tree monster.
Mm-hmm.
He was a whole lot of fun.
So you had a whole lot of fun with this English dog.
Mm-hmm.
And now that was 35 years ago. And here we are sitting at leopard days.
Yes.
You got a truckload of leopards out there.
Yeah, getting into the leopards was kind of a whim. My wife told me she was never involved in the hounds until we got together. She told me, she said, if you want me to get into showing with you and going to these events and stuff, she said, I'd like a leopard.
Okay.
So I immediately went on the hunt.
Yeah.
Found this female down in Ohio for sale. Went down, bought her. Was on looking at a stud dog auction. Seen Jason Keene's moose dog was on there.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up buying the breeding to him for $25.
Nice.
The first time she come in heat was 4th of July weekend. I jumped in my truck, drove the 11 hours to Jason's to have her bred.
Yeah.
Got to watch the fireworks over the mountains while we were down there.
That's cool.
And that's where I got started in the leopards.
That's funny. And here we are sitting with President of the Leopard Association, Bandy. You know, I think it's kind of funny. And how long ago was that?
That has been 5 years ago now.
So you got your first leopard 5 years ago, and
Yep.
here you are the president.
Yeah.
and like I said, and not only president, you got a pack of leopards out there.
Yes, we've made a couple different crosses. My wife and my daughter, they show. I show a few. I competition hunt one at some of our smaller local hunts, and I hunted her here on Thursday night in the RQ and had no luck.
Thursday
bad
night,
breaks.
Thursday night wasn't a good night all
Nope.
around.
I should have had my cast one. I made a bad call. Got to the last tree. I could see the coon with the thermal.
Mm-hmm.
Rest of the cast couldn't see it, so I took my minus.
Oh, wait a minute. If you could see it with thermal, you couldn't get it circled at least?
They wouldn't score off the thermal, which is,
Well,
you can't anyway.
You can't score.
Right, but I couldn't get anybody to see any part of it, and they would not circle it. They voted to minus me.
Gotcha.
So,
No, I understand.
so
You
I
can't
took a
score,
tough break.
Can't score off of it, but
Yep.
it's like, look, I see it. We should circle it. Like, I understand you can't plus it.
Right, we tried looking for a hole. We tried everything to try to circle it, but they just said, no, it's not quite thick enough. They voted minus me. So
Darn. That's a tough break.
Mm-hmm. Then I didn't get to hunt last night. I ended up being the master of hounds for both rounds.
Yep.
So
we were here till 4 a.m.
yes. Yes.
At least you have to only walk outside and go to sleep.
Right. Yeah, that was one thing my wife said. She says, I get tired of standing in the hotel rooms all the time with the
Yeah.
dogs. It makes me nervous when we have to leave them in the vehicle
Yep.
or whatever. She says, well, if we're going to do this, we're going to buy a small travel trailer so we can do that. And it's been convenient for us.
Oh, for sure. No, that's kind of one me and Kurt, my buddy, have been running back and forth to the hotel. It's only a half hour away, but it's just at 4:00 in the morning. That's an extra half an hour.
Right, and it
between you
always
and
made
going
my
to bed.
wife nervous if we had to leave the dogs in the vehicle overnight in the dog box that somebody could mess with them.
That's what we did.
Yeah.
So bring in, a screaming puppy and a couple stinky big dogs.
Yeah, we ended up bringing a total of 10 down here. Not all leopards. We have one plot, and my wife's got a Australian cattle dog poodle cross, which is our house dog. So
Okay.
we travel heavy.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you just coon hunt?
No, I do some bear hunting.
Okay.
Uh,
Because you're Michigan, right?
yeah, we're mid-Michigan, up in the Thumb area. We do
Okay.
some coyote hunting.
Okay.
Occasionally go up and try to run a bobcat.
Mhm.
I have to drive to bear hunt and cat hunt. I have to drive about 2 hours north of me to get into them.
That's not too
So, no, it's not too bad. I dabble pretty much anything you can run with the hound I've ran.
Mhm.
I've had pups I've bred. I have them in Minnesota that are cat dogs. I sold a pup to a guy in Montana that's a lion hunter.
Nice.
So I promote mine as dual purpose type dogs and not just coon. I produce big game dogs too. So
Yeah. Now, between that, those English dogs you had as a kid and these leopards now, were you hunting English all the way through, or?
I hunted English up until I bought my first leopard. I had an English Grand Night Champion male off the Main Street Jack dog, which anybody in the English breed knows who he is. Asa Briggs, Main Street Jack's owner, actually is a really close friend of mine.
I was gonna say, he's probably up in your area.
Yeah,
right?
he lives about an hour and a half from me.
Yeah. I knew he was from Michigan. So.
Yes, and I have another buddy that he hunts a lot of dogs for Asa, and he's the one that actually got me into the Jack dogs. And Asa sold me a pup, and he turned out I made him a Grand Night Champion, and I lost him. He was 9 years old. I just went out one morning, and he was dead in his coop. So
Okay.
that's when I started transitioning over to looking for a leopard that I could run some pups with because he was also my pup trainer.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought a leopard female from a gentleman in right on the kind of the Indiana-Illinois border. She's Lucky Luke female.
Is that Sparrow?
Yeah, that's Sparrow.
Yep.
So
what female she had?
she is out of the Boister Skinny Bone dog.
Yep.
And she's been a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I call her a country coon dog. I don't call her a competition dog, but she has been fun. I've won a few casts with her. My little boy actually has won a youth hunter too with her.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been hunting now, and I've got a couple pups that I bred off some dogs that I purchased from Illinois, a female. And I bred her to a male that was off a previous cross that I made off my Laker bred female. And we're slowly trying to build kind of my own line and find what works for me. Like I said, coming from the English world, I want a dog that goes hunting hard, tree monster. I mean, I like nothing more than just an aggressive tree dog. That's kind of my thing.
Oh, I like a good tree dog.
And so I'm kind of building toward that. That's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
I know Jason Keene, he told me when I went down to breed that female that I bought for my wife, the very first leopard I had, he told me, he says, one thing you're going to learn about these leopards, he says, they're like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
That is 100%.
And he says, take everything you know about your walkers, your English, and throw it out the window because these are a whole different breed. And he was not lying.
That's literally what our conversations have been on all weekend long is how to breed better dogs. We've had some great conversations this weekend.
And him and I, we sat down and we talked about it too and trying to build the breed for more competition style dogs that can compete in these bigger hunts. It's been a process, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I've got a young pup right now. He's 14 months old. He's only been in the woods about 13, 14 times. But from the very first night I took this pup out with my old female sparrow, from the moment I unsnapped him, he was with her every step, opened on the ground. When I get to the tree, he's wanting the tree. And now the other night, this is his 11th night in the woods, he got split and had the coon.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
got a feeling I'm getting to where I need to be.
Yeah.
So
Good.
that's what we're working toward.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think we've had some great conversations this weekend about how we as a breed can really push this breed forward, and I think there's some people getting on the same page, and so.
And Jason and I had a conversation last night after he got back from the late round cast on that subject of different strains of dogs and breeding dogs, and we're actually going to work together with some of my breeding into some of his breeding, and we're
Yeah.
gonna
That's what it
we're
takes.
trying to get things intertwined to get what we want for the leopards.
No, I've talked to a lot of people in a lot of different breeds, and that seems to be a general consensus. If you're not working with others, you're not going forward. Like, it's awesome that people can have a really tightly line-bred line of dogs that they've promoted or whatever, but it still takes other people.
Well, when I got my first one, and like I said, I bred her to Jason's moose dog the first time, and then the second time I was looking for a dog to breed her to make the second cross, and I was talking to some other. I talked to Jason a time or two about what he thought maybe I should breed her to, and I have a gentleman up in Michigan that Matt Grovestein. Matt been involved with the leopards for. He was involved with leopards for 30 years. He was a past president of the association. He hunted a lot of Rex Laker bred dogs, and he got me in touch with Rex, and I talked to Rex about dogs, and Rex is a mountain of knowledge. Anything you want to know about a leopard, Rex can pretty much tell you what you want to know. Bloodlines, this Midwest strain and that's another thing I got when I got into the leopards, that there were so many different little groups that they stayed so they didn't want to come out of that little group and work together. And I just thought to myself, how can this breed get better? And if people don't start working together more.
Yeah.
You talk to one guy and you tell him how your dog was bred, and he'd pretty much shun you. He'd turn away from you and wouldn't even speak to you.
Yeah.
And so on my second cross, I ended up actually breeding her to more of a show type leopard dog that a lady up in Michigan had that was partners with a gentleman out of Indiana, and have produced some very nice dogs. That a bunch of cat dogs come out of that litter.
Nice.
I have a male that I actually took to Chicago to the Great American Dog Show. They had AKC bench show along with their confirmation shows. There was 2,500 dogs at this show. There was 52 bench show entries. He was 19 months old. I won the overall bench show and qualified him to go back to Chicago to compete against the confirmation dogs from every category.
Oh,
I would
wow.
have competed against a dog that won Westminster and everything. And I thought that was a pretty good honor for an 18-month-old leopard hound competing against them type of dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Which in AKC, they're still considered foundation stock. They're not even in their legal registry yet.
Yeah.
So we've been kind of striving to get them recognized in AKC, not only NKC or your UKC dogs.
Yep.
I have a pup that I bred and raised out of that same cross as the male I'm telling you about. Belongs to the Mooney family in Georgia. She is the first leopard female to earn a certain confirmation degree in AKC.
Okay.
So I've produced a few good ones out of that cross, and I'm hoping to breed that female one more time. I'm still looking for the right male to breed her to.
There you go.
Conkey's Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkey's motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkey's carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well.
So what, like, I know obviously you said your wife got into, one of these dogs to show, but what made you as a hunter, as a coon hunter, as a cat hunter, or as a bear hunter, say, yeah, let me try these versus these English dogs I've been hunting for a long time. Like, what made you say, all right, not just let me get my wife her one token dog, and I'll just keep on hunting my English dogs?
I'm getting a little older. Had some minor health issues. The English dogs and the competition style dogs that I was hunting, they are go yonder, get by themselves. And I found that these leopards from people that I talked to, they were more of a track oriented dog. They weren't as hard to hunt, deep hunters. And weren't just specifically a coon hound or bear hound. They're kind of multi-purpose I've ran bear with my English dogs, and I wanted to try something different.
Yeah.
I said, throughout the years, I've had every recognized coonhound breed at some point in time. I've tried everything.
Okay.
And we started doing some good with these leopards, and it's just wanted to try something different, I guess.
Yeah.
No, it was just one of them things, like I said, I bought that female. It wasn't a couple months later, I bought the breeding, had her bred, had puppies, and it's just kind of snowballed.
Okay.
And we've done really well with them in the shows. I've won the breed at Autumn Oaks. Actually, the female I was telling you about that the Moonies own, I campaigned her 1 year up here. I won the breed at the World Show,
Nice.
at UKC World Show with her. I've won at the AKC World, the breed. So, done really well with them. So that's kind of the path we've taken. Like I said, we have a kennel full of them. We have one plot that belongs to our 10-year-old foster son. So we haul him around. So we've kind of just moved our whole kennel that way. My daughter, she started out showing when she was young. She was a black and tan gal. She always wanted black and tan. So, like I said, she showed them up until she graduated high school and went off to college. Like I said, I've tried every breed. It's just we've got to the leopards, and that's kind of where we're stuck at now.
Yeah. No, it's awesome, and I really I've enjoyed seeing, I didn't know who you were up until a couple years ago, and kind of see you be very successful in this breed. I remember a couple years ago, Kurt's like, oh, yeah, I think it was the year you became president. He's like, this guy Bandy became president. I'm like, never heard of him. Like, who's that? And so then I kind of became friends with you, and I met you at Autumn Oaks or at the World Show, one or the other. And
I think I met you the first time at the World Show.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
And so, we've talked several times since then, and like I said, it's just been kind of cool to see your progression within this breed within a short period of time.
And that's been my goal. And it was even like that when I had the Walker dogs, and we showed horses and bred horses, and I've always been that type. It didn't matter if it was with my dogs, my horses. I've always strived to try to make what I had better, promote them.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of years ago, I can't tell you the amount of miles and money we spent on campaigning a few dogs. I took 3 leopards from entry level in the bench show to open to the Grand Supreme in a matter of months. I was trying to title these dogs and promote them and get them recognized. And that is what I'm pushing for, is to make this breed better.
Mm-hmm.
And get it out there where other people, we've went to AKC shows, people don't even know what a leopard dog is. I had one guy come up to me when we were in Chicago and says, that's the ugliest black and tan I've ever seen. I said, sir, he's not a black and tan. He's an American leopard hound. I've never heard of one.
Yeah.
So that we've been trying to promote them as much as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what we're pushing toward.
Yeah. Well, you're certainly, had some success. That's for sure. And so, what do you, as the president, what do you see for the association?
The association is kind of stuck in a rut. Our membership, we have to get more people involved in the breed.
Yeah.
Going back to everything else, we have to work together
Mm-hmm.
to build this breed. We're the smallest recognized breed in UKC Coonhound world. It's been a struggle getting everybody on board and working together to try to build the breed and the membership of the association. I'm a member of the Plothound Association, and it's the difference between the two is so unreal in numbers and the way people work together. It's
Yeah.
mind-boggling. I think we are starting to move in the right direction,
I agree.
but it's been a slow process. This is my second year as president,
Mm-hmm.
and just from the first year to the second year, when I took over, we were between a rock and a hard spot.
Well, we don't need to get into a whole lot of politics,
Right.
but there was a kind of a riff in the
yes, there
association
was.
5 years
Yes,
ago.
there was.
And so a couple years out of that, it was just kind of
And
a rebuilding process.
like I said, I've been involved that 5 or 6 years, and like you just spoke of the riff in the association at that time. I went to my very first leopard days with 2 6.5-month-old puppies in Flora, Illinois, and I walk into the membership meeting, and it was like I walked into a hornet's nest. And I'm like, walked out and told my wife,
Get rid of
I'm
these
not
leopard
100%
dogs.
sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure this is where we should be.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen anything like this. And, but every year I've seen a little bit of progression. And then we kind of hit a little hard spot. And I think we are finally starting to make some progress.
Yeah.
People are starting to work together a little bit more, not just with the breeding of the dogs. Our membership's building a little bit every year. We're getting a few more people involved. So I hope that we can just keep moving forward and try to make this association better.
Yep. I've had this conversation a couple times this weekend about what things we could do, and I don't think we need to sit here and say that on this podcast because it's not going to do us any good. But we're about to have a meeting here in a little bit, and we're definitely going to talk about it. But and while I've never been a member of the Black and Tan Association, I've been to Black and Tan Days the last 2 years, and I've just watched that association. I've been to several APA events, and I've talked to several of their officers, and I'm like, I've seen what some of these other associations are doing and doing right, and I'm like, we could learn from them. Like, we are a small breed, so we're not gonna go have a Black and Tan yearbook next year.
No, we're not. I mean, the black
I would love one, but
the Black and Tan breed, like I said, my daughter's involved with Black and Tan, so I know what you're talking about that association and their membership and the things they do. They probably got the biggest registry breed wise.
yeah,
Even over the walkers, and their
There's more
association
walkers,
is
but
so
they're-
strong
yep, 100%.
that them as a breed, they work together so well, and they have really, I mean, their yearbook, just their yearbook alone, I mean, it's a hardcover. It's
phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
It's something that you can have for years and years and years and pass on to your family.
yep,
And like I said, I've worked with the Plot Association. Very, very good friend of mine is a board member in the Plot Association, and they've had some struggles with theirs, but they are kind of on the same thing. They're in a rebuilding process, but they are doing things to move forward.
yep.
They've got a president now that is very involved in the breed, and they're pushing forward. So I see them growing again
Yeah.
too.
No, I think that's what we need, and like I said, I think we are on the right track. It's just gonna take a little bit of time.
It is. It's going to be a process, but I
Yep.
think, like I said earlier, we are going in the right direction
For sure.
slowly, but
Yep.
we are making progress.
Mm-hmm.
So
All right, we need a good hunting story or two, Bandy. You've been all over the place. You've hunted all kinds of dogs. What do you got for me?
Probably some of the wildest stories has actually been in the bear woods.
Oh yeah.
It like I said, it can get wild and crazy. We've ran a bear a few years ago. We called her Slewfoot. She had a injury of some sorts to one of her front legs where it really turned in, so she made a weird track. And we ran this bear. She was in our core hunting area. You could cut her track every morning, run this bear. Biggest thing is she didn't run. She would just walk.
Okay.
You could walk this bear for, I think one day we walked her for like 14 miles, and she would
bear.
not climb.
Big bear. Or?
She was probably a 250-pound bear. We figure she was an
Pretty
older
decent, yeah.
sow that was on her way down.
Yeah.
This sow was probably the nastiest thing I ever seen in my life. We had her in our area for 2 or 3 years. She never had a cub. But like I said, she was so nasty. She would send dogs out, re-jump her, send dogs back in. She'd send them out. She was a lot of fun to play with. Things got a little western a few times. We had some.
You'd learn real quick whether you had a good bear dog or not with her.
Yes, yes, but she wasn't one you wanted to send too many young dogs in on.
Oh yeah.
She was probably, like I said, she was one of the most fun ones. Like you said, you could almost every morning cut her track in the same area, put down on her, run her. But like I said, this thing she would not climb. You could walk in to a bay, but she was a nasty thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she was nasty, and she ended up getting hit in the road.
Daggone.
Yep, ended up getting hit by a car. We found her dead, hit by a car.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty interesting story. Coon hunting, some of the stuff I've been into. I've had dogs getting drain tiles. Have to call
I've heard some
road commission to dig them out.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty wild things happen throughout the years. Been shot at.
Jeez.
It's had some interesting hunts.
Now, what's your coon hunting like up there where you're at?
Our coon hunting up our way is very, very good. The coon population, our state is actually talking about next year making coon season year round because they are such a nuisance animal and there is such a great number of them.
It's because nobody hunts them. Nobody traps.
It's nothing to go out. The other night before I come down here, I wanted to put a little tune up on my older female. So I got with a buddy of mine. We went out. We made 4 drops. She treated 4 coon in 45 minutes. I seen 4 more on my drive home across the road.
Man. We got a bid to come up your way, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Heck yeah, that's where we're going.
The Lapeer.
Make sure you tell that story.
The Lapeer, Michigan club put in a bid to host Leopard Days next year. They have very good hunting. They can host. They have all the events: field trial, water race. They can have the bear events alongside our coonhound events. So I think that may help draw a few more people from the breed that do the big game stuff.
Yeah.
And also bring in other breeds that to increase our numbers for our breed days.
Yeah.
So.
Good deal.
I'm hoping to see that it goes to Michigan.
Yeah.
The club would only be 35 minutes from me. But,
makes it convenient.
It would be.
So
and I think
it's only a hop, skip, and 10-hour jump for me.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I like seeing it move around, every couple of years. And I know this club has actually put a bid in the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the older membership, and that's just too far to travel north this time of year. It's not much different than where we are now weather-wise.
Mm-hmm.
Good hunting, nice flat terrain for the majority of it, big hardwood timber, oak stands.
Yeah.
It's a lot of agriculture. I mean, it's coon heaven.
Yeah.
It's as good or better hunting that you'll find in Ohio, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
there's not too many states that are going to be any better for coon population and the actual hunting than Michigan.
Yeah, I've heard that. So we'll see how this meeting goes. Hopefully we can bring it up there.
Yeah, so we have another bid from Flora, Illinois, so we'll see how things go.
Yep. I'll throw a little amendment on the end of this and let everybody know where 2026 Leopard Days is going to be. So.
And like I said before, I like to see it move around a few years. I mean, I didn't mind hunting in Holmesville.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Flora. But like I said, every year I think, and I understand, we were supposed to have a bid come in from West Virginia.
Yeah.
And I think that's great that we can move it around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing. We have people that want to have breed days, but they won't go to a local club and get us a bid. And I'll put this out to the membership. If you have a club that is wanting to host near you, bring us a bid. We will put it in the meeting and vote on this.
Yeah, I selfishly am the one that went to the West Virginia club because, granted, I'm way out in left field. No one's coming over by me.
Right.
And we wouldn't draw anything. So there's no point in bringing it all the way my way. But I'm like, I know that West Virginia club, and I was like, they hold a good event. They've got a real nice fairgrounds to hold an events at. I'm like, so I went to their president. I said, hey, you should put a bid in because you're only 5 hours from me versus 10.
And I was hoping they would. Like I said, the more we have to choose from, and that's moving around. And West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, we're trying to keep it central.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see we had a gentleman here this weekend come from Idaho to pick up some puppies.
Yeah.
It's so hopefully, like I said, we can get people to submit these bids. We can move this around places. It don't matter. At some point, somebody's going to have to travel, whether it's me traveling to your West Virginia or you coming to Michigan. I mean, at some point, we're going to have to travel. It's just part of the deal. If we're going to be involved in this and you want to make your breed better, you're going to have to do that. So.
No, I know, for plot breed association, the APA, like their APA's breed days is in the same spot every year. But people travel from, and it's in Tennessee, people travel from Louisiana, from Wisconsin,
Correct. I mean, I have friends that I bear hunt with that are highly involved in the APA and the NPHA, both plot associations, and he travels down there. And like I said, if you want to promote your dogs and do that, at some point you're going to have to travel.
It's just an accepted factor.
Yeah, it's an accepted factor. You're going to have to travel.
Yep.
Do I like traveling? No.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my wife, she told me when we started traveling a few years ago for these bigger shows, she says, about 5 hours is my limit in a vehicle anymore. She says, I can't travel like I used to, and I'm getting to be the same way.
Yep.
But I said, Melissa, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to do some traveling sometimes.
Yep.
And my treasurer and secretary for the association, she travels from Georgia.
Yeah.
She travels as far as anybody, and you never hear Amy complain.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if she can do it, and sometimes they don't even bring dogs. Amy just comes.
Yep.
So hopefully we can keep this going in the right direction.
Exactly. So, well, we'll hop off here. I appreciate you taking the time to sit down with me this morning.
No problem, Ben. I appreciate it.
As Bandy and I discussed, Leopard Days 2026 will be in Lapeer, Michigan. We are planning on having field trials, water races, along with the bench show and night hunt, as well as possibly some bear events. There is camping available, so we hope to see you in 2026. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talkin' Media, and until next time, keep 'em talking in the timber.